I died on March 14th, 2023. And what Jesus showed me about women who have no one but God changed everything I thought I knew about abandonment, loneliness, and purpose. My name is Stacey. I'm 42 years old now, but when this happened, I was 39. I was a divorced single mother of 2, working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. My ex-husband had left me for someone younger. My family had turned their backs on me because I wouldn't take him back. I had no friends because I had no time. I was alone. Completely alone. Except I didn't know then that I actually wasn't. Let me tell you what happened. I was driving home from my night shift at the diner. It was 2:47 a.m. I remember looking at the clock right before the semi-truck ran the red light. I didn't even have time to scream. The impact was instant. And then everything went black. But it wasn't black for long. The next thing I knew, I was standing outside my body. I could see my car, crumpled like paper. I could see myself inside, blood everywhere. I could hear sirens in the distance, but I felt no pain, just this overwhelming sense of lightness. And then I saw him. Jesus appeared right next to me. I knew it was him immediately, not because of paintings I'd seen or pictures from Sunday school. I just knew. His presence was unmistakable, and the love radiating from him was so intense I wanted to weep. He looked at me with these eyes full of compassion and said, "Stacey, come with me. I have something to show you." I didn't question it. I couldn't. The pull was too strong. Suddenly we were somewhere else. Not heaven exactly. Not earth either. It was like being in between. And Jesus turned to me and said something I'll never forget. "You think you're alone, Stacey. You think having no one but me means you have nothing. I'm going to show you the truth about what happens when a woman has no one but God." And then the visions began. The first thing Jesus showed me was this woman. She was running through a desert, tears streaming down her face. She was pregnant and terrified. Jesus said, "This is Hagar." I nodded. I remembered the story vaguely from childhood. "Watch what happens when everyone leaves her," he said. I watched as she collapsed by a spring, sobbing. She had nowhere to go, no one to turn to. Her mistress hated her. Abraham wouldn't protect her. She was utterly abandoned. But then an angel appeared. And Jesus said to me, "When everyone leaves, I lean in." He explained that Hagar's isolation wasn't rejection. It was redirection. "Stacey, do you see? In that desert, she met me face to face. She called me El Roy, the God who sees. She didn't meet me in comfort. She met me in crisis." Jesus looked at me intensely. "The same is true for you. When your husband left, when your family abandoned you, when friends disappeared, I didn't leave. I leaned in closer. But you were looking at who walked away instead of who walked toward you." I started crying, because it was true. "Your abandonment was my appointment," Jesus said. "Every person who exits makes room for my entrance." Hagar was alone with me in that wilderness, and I gave her promises, provision, and purpose. I told her about her son. I told her about nations that would come from her. None of that would have happened in Abraham's tent. He paused. "Stacey, when you have no one but God, you're not empty. You're entrusted with encounters others never get because they're too crowded to hear me." The scene shifted. Now I saw a woman in a temple. She was praying, but no sound was coming from her mouth. Her lips moved silently. Tears ran down her face. People stared at her. Even the priest looked at her with disgust, thinking she was drunk. "Hannah," Jesus said. I watched her pour out her soul in complete silence. The pain in her expression was devastating. Jesus said, "Silence is the canvas where I paint destiny." He explained that Hannah's husband couldn't comfort her. The other wife mocked her constantly. Even Eli the priest misjudged her completely. But watch this, Stacey. Watch what happens in her silence. I saw heaven responding. I saw angels moving. I saw something being created in the spiritual realm, even though nothing looked like it was happening in the natural. Her silence wasn't emptiness. Jesus told me. It was a womb. From that invisible place, from that wordless prayer, Samuel was conceived. Not just a baby, a prophet who would change a nation. Jesus turned to me. "Stacey, your silent tears matter. Every night you cried yourself to sleep, I heard it. Every moment you couldn't find words to pray, the Holy Spirit interpreted. Romans 8 verse 26 says the Spirit intercedes with groanings that cannot be uttered. Your silence is not powerlessness. It's a platform. He showed me all the nights I'd wept alone, and I saw that each tear had been collected. Each wordless prayer had reached the throne. Nothing was wasted. What I birth in silence cannot be aborted by noise, Jesus said. Hannah's silence produced a prophet. Your silence is producing something too. But you have to trust the process. The vision changed again. This time I saw a young woman walking behind workers in a field. She was picking up leftover grain. She looked exhausted, poor, foreign. Ruth, Jesus said. She lost everything. Her husband died. Her security vanished. She was left with nothing but loyalty to a bitter mother-in-law and a God she barely knew. I watched Ruth work in the hot sun, gleaning scraps. Jesus said, "Heaven doesn't consult Earth's opinion to approve your destiny." He explained that Ruth had no resume. She was a foreigner, a Moabite. The people of Bethlehem looked down on her. She had no qualifications, no connections, no prospects. But watch, Jesus said. I didn't ask for Naomi's permission. I didn't take a poll in Bethlehem. I already anointed her future. I saw Ruth meet Boaz. I saw the whole story unfold. And then Jesus showed me something that blew my mind. He showed me Ruth's lineage going all the way down to King David, and then to himself. Stacey, do you see? This woman who was rejected, who had nothing, who people overlooked, she's in my bloodline. Her pain became the pathway for redemption. One widow's faithfulness led to the Messiah. Jesus looked at me with such intensity. Your rejection is your redirection. Every person who left you only made room for what I'm bringing. The labels people put on you don't override the purpose I placed in you. You think you're a broke single mom with no options. I say you're a woman carrying destiny that will impact generations. I was sobbing now, because I'd felt so worthless, so forgotten. You may have no man, no money, no map, Jesus said. But if you have me, you have enough. Your Boaz isn't delayed. He's being divinely aligned. But more than that, your purpose doesn't need Earth's approval. It's already sealed in heaven. The scene shifted once more. I saw a woman pushing through a crowd. She looked sick, weak, desperate. People were pulling away from her in disgust. 12 years, Jesus said. 12 years she bled. 12 years she was called unclean. No one could touch her. No family. No friends. No husband. She spent everything on doctors and only got worse. I watched her crawl toward Jesus. She was so desperate she was literally crawling between people's legs. Desperation is not the end, Jesus told me. It's the doorway to deliverance. He explained that this woman had no support system, no one cheering for her. She was hemorrhaging physically, emotionally, financially, socially. Everything was falling apart. But desperation is a weapon, Stacey. It's not weakness. It's the scream that unlocks heaven's attention. I watched her reach out and touch the hem of Jesus' garment. And instantly, power flowed. But what happened next is what Jesus really wanted me to see. Watch me, he said. I saw Jesus stop the entire crowd. He called out, "Who touched me?" And when she came forward trembling, he didn't call her woman. He called her daughter. Jesus turned to me with tears in his eyes. Stacey, this wasn't just healing. This was adoption. I didn't just restore her body. I gave her identity. I called her daughter. He said, "You've been bleeding in silence, hemorrhaging hope. You're tired, broke, misunderstood. But your desperation is not your ending. It's your entry point. Your crawl will turn into your calling." Jesus showed me all the times I'd been desperate, all the times I'd cried out with nothing left. And he showed me that he'd been there every single time. When the world labels you unclean, when they write you off, I write you in. You're not overlooked. You're my daughter. I couldn't stop crying. The vision changed again. Now I saw a woman standing outside a tomb, weeping. It was early morning. I recognized this one immediately. Mary Magdalene. Yes, Jesus said. Watch what happens when everyone else leaves, but she stays. I saw the disciples run back home, confused and scared. But Mary stayed. She stayed at the place of death, weeping. And then Jesus appeared to her. But here's what blew my mind. Jesus said, "Stacey, I revealed myself first to her. Not to Peter. Not to John. Not to any of the men. To a woman who had been demon-possessed. A woman society rejected. A woman with no platform, no prestige, no power. Just tears. He explained, Mary didn't just witness resurrection. She carried the message of it. She became the first preacher of the gospel. I trusted her with the most important announcement in human history. Jesus looked at me. When people disappear in your worst hour, I reveal myself in the emptiness. Mary waited when others walked away, and I met her there. He showed me all my empty moments, all the times I'd been alone, crying, broken. You think those moments were wasted, Jesus said, but I was calling your name in every one of them, just like I called Mary's name. Your encounter is coming, not in the crowd, in the stillness. He paused. My presence is not a substitute for people, Stacey. It's superior. That emptiness you feel isn't abandonment. It's anticipation. I'm about to reveal myself to you in ways others never experience because they're too surrounded by noise. The vision shifted. I saw a woman at a well. She came alone, in the heat of the day, avoiding everyone. 5 husbands, Jesus said. 5 failed relationships. Living with a man who wasn't her husband. Rejected by everyone. Forced to hide. I watched Jesus approach her, and instead of condemning her, he spoke truth and gave her living water. Watch what happens when I reveal her identity, Jesus said. I saw the woman transform. She dropped her water jar and ran into the city. The same people she'd been hiding from, she now confronted with boldness. Come see a man who told me everything I ever did, she shouted. Jesus said, your identity is not found in who left, but in who called you. Stacey, you've been defining yourself by who walked out. Your absent father, your ex-husband, friends who disappeared. But I'm telling you, like I told her in John 4 verse 23, you are mine. He quoted Isaiah 43 verse 1. I have called you by name. You are mine. Not you were theirs, Jesus emphasized. Not you were discarded. You are mine. Present tense. Current. Now. He showed me that I'd been living under the shadow of abandonment, letting it define me. You're not a canceled file, Stacey. You're a chosen vessel. I didn't die to make you a victim. I died to make you victorious. Stop chasing validation from people who left. Walk in the power of who called you. Jesus showed me how the Samaritan woman went from broken to bold in one conversation with him. That's what I do when women stop hiding and start hearing who they really are. The scene changed again. Now I saw a woman who'd been unfaithful, chasing lovers, selling herself. Gomer, Jesus said, Hosea's wife. I watched her spiral, making terrible choices, running from the one who loved her. Then Jesus said something that shocked me. He quoted Hosea 2 verse 14. Therefore I am now going to allure her. I will lead her into the wilderness and speak tenderly to her. The wilderness is not a curse, Stacey, Jesus said. It's my classroom. He explained that God didn't drag Gomer into the wilderness. He allured her, drew her, beckoned her with love. Sometimes the only way to clear the noise of everyone else is to get you alone with me. The wilderness is my bridal suite. It's where I whisper what the world has drowned out. Jesus showed me all my wilderness moments. The job loss, the divorce, the isolation, the nights alone. You thought those were punishments, he said, but they were appointments. Divine reservations for one-on-one conversations with me. He explained that the wilderness is where he teaches identity, trust, and intimacy. Elijah heard me in the wilderness. Moses met me there. I myself was led by the Spirit into the wilderness before my ministry, not to be punished, to be prepared. Jesus looked at me. Stacey, you're not lost in the wilderness. You're enrolled in my school. And I'm teaching you things textbooks can't and friends won't. When you come out, you'll come out like I did, full of power, purpose, and peace. The vision shifted one final time. I saw a man who'd lost everything. Job. He was sitting in ashes, covered in sores, his children dead, his wealth gone, his wife telling him to curse God. But then I heard him say, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. Jesus said, when you have no one but God, you discover he is more than enough. He showed me other examples. Paul in prison writing, I have learned in whatever state I am to be content. The Shunammite woman saying, "It is well," even as she laid her dead son down. These people discovered what you're about to discover, Stacey, Jesus said. That I'm not a supplement to your strength. I'm the source of it. I'm not an accessory to your success. I'm the foundation of your every breath. He showed me Psalm 73 verses 25 to 26. Whom have I in heaven but you? And earth has nothing I desire besides you. This isn't a verse you quote when things are good, Jesus explained. This is a revelation born in ashes. When you've lost the hand you used to hold. When your plans collapse. When people vanish. That's when your soul stops clinging to substitutes and starts anchoring in the source. Jesus looked at me with such love. Stacey, you discover I'm everything when everything else disappears. It's in that holy barrenness where your heart truly confesses, you are enough. He explained that I would walk differently after this. Worship deeper. Speak with wisdom. No longer panic when people leave because I discovered the one who never will. That's the power of sufficiency, Jesus said. Not needing to chase what left because you're anchored in who stayed. Not begging for scraps of attention because you dine daily at the table of grace. He paused. I am enough, Stacey. More than enough. I always was. I always will be. Then Jesus said something that I carry with me every single day now. You thought being alone with only me was your worst nightmare. But it's actually your greatest gift. Because in that aloneness, you find me. Really find me. Not religion. Not ritual. Me. And once you have me, truly have me, you'll never be poor again. He continued. Every woman who finds herself with no one but God is being entrusted with a level of intimacy others miss. They're too busy with crowds, with applause, with human validation. But you get me unfiltered, undistracted, undivided. Jesus showed me that every biblical woman he'd shown me had one thing in common. They were all alone when they encountered him most powerfully. Hagar in the desert, Hannah in silent prayer, Ruth in a foreign field, the bleeding woman in her desperation, Mary at the tomb, the Samaritan woman at the well, Gomer in the wilderness. Do you see the pattern, Stacey? I did. They were all alone. When you have no one but God, Jesus said, you're not being punished. You're being positioned. Positioned for an encounter that will define your destiny. Positioned for a revelation that will transform your identity. Positioned for a purpose that will impact eternity. He looked at me one more time. It's time for you to go back now, Stacey. Back, I said. To my body? Yes. You have work to do. You have a message to carry. You have daughters to raise. You have women to encourage. You have a testimony to share. But I don't want to leave you, I said. Jesus smiled. You're not leaving me. Now you know I'm always with you, especially when you feel most alone. And then he said, tell them what you saw. Tell them that when a woman has no one but God, she's not empty. She's entrusted. Tell them I never leave. Tell them abandonment is often my appointment. Tell them the wilderness is my classroom. Tell them their silence is my canvas. Tell them their desperation is their doorway. Tell them they are mine. Then everything went bright. The next thing I knew, I was gasping for air in a hospital bed. Machines were beeping. Nurses were rushing around. A doctor was shouting orders. I'd been dead for 7 minutes, but I came back different. I came back knowing that every moment I thought I was alone, I wasn't. Every tear I cried, he collected. Every silent prayer, he heard. Every abandonment, he turned into an appointment. I came back knowing that when you have no one but God, you have everything. And now, 3 years later, I'm remarried to a man who loves Jesus. My relationship with my daughters is stronger than ever. I lead a ministry for single mothers. And every single day, I tell women what Jesus told me. When you have no one but God, you are not empty. You are entrusted. Because sometimes it's in the absence of everyone else that you finally discover the presence of the only one who never left. He is enough. More than enough. And he's calling your name right now, just like he called mine on that road between death and life. If you're alone today, you're not forgotten. You're found. And the God who sees you is about to show you that his presence is not a substitute for people. It's superior. Amen.